Hello and thanks for checking out ChartGuys.com. We're proud to be one of the most successful technical analysis communities online, teaching you the skills to become a more confident, effective, and informed trader. Join our community of hundreds of analysts worldwide working together to learn the charts, generate profit, and achieve financial independence. For access to daily live chart analysis and market coverage, a thriving chat community, along with dozens of hours of exclusive educational materials. We look forward to seeing you. Let's check out some charts. Everyone checking back in on the sector here midday. It is currently just before 2 p.m. Eastern, so we still got a couple hours left in today. Didn't do a video yesterday doing some short-term traveling back up north, but hopefully if you've been watching these videos, you already know what I'm going to say, and that's gap ups are for selling. So I was taking profit on my swing positions in CGC and ACB. I took half profit pre-market, and I sold the other half in the first half hour of trading, and that was locking in short-term gains. And of course, when you're going against the current, any gains are good gains and you want to protect those. So 2% on CGC, 3% on ACB, but I also exited KSHB, which was a 3% loss, but a smaller position because it's a swing position. And I take smaller positions for my swings because I have less control of them. So I'm not as comfortable, not in the driver's seat. And that means a smaller position to allow for some of that higher risk. So looking at CGC on this pullback now, we ended up with a bounce from 28.10 up to 33.65. That's a significant bounce. That is about 18% or so. So now we're pulling back, and this is where the bulls have to form a higher low. It's a big red day across the sector right now, and the bear correlation is back to the S&P 500. So we've had bullish correlation and bearish correlation this week. A little bit of choppy action for sure, but look at the volume. The volume is still nothing significant for these bears. CGC key support is 30.21. And if that breaks, we're looking right back down to 28.10. Essentially, we have to see the bulls establish a clear support level and then try and see follow through with key resistance of 33.65 and 35.18. So CGC is actually one of the weaker names in the sector out of the major Canadian MJ names. And ACB was one of the stronger names. It did get some solid follow through over that $6 break. Ended up getting about 4% follow through over that break. And now we're pulling back. And that, again, is not surprising because we have not seen any consolidation. We went straight from 621 in the Canadian side of things up to 831. That's a 30% move or so. So we're seeing a healthy pullback for a higher low. Again, look at the volume. There's no huge dump. We're going to look for a daily higher low to form. Key support right now is 734. And if that breaks, there's a gap to fill at 718. So again, we're looking for the daily higher low to form. Stairs up, elevator down, absolutely. We've given back 3 or 4 days of bullish action in this one red day. And it's just showing us that there's no bid support right now because, again, it's not a ton of volume dumping into the market. It's just the bulls are nowhere to be found. So pulling back, looking for the daily higher low on ACB, and we'll see if we can get any follow through from there. Checking in on APHA, not going to comment much on my opinion for management, but man, oh man. So we've got 4-hour equilibrium was forming, and we're close to a bear break here where we have our top of the bull move. We were looking for a potential sell the news scenario if we ever got that rebuttal. We never got the rebuttal, but we still formed that lower high. So it was a nice top fishing play for bearish entries. 840, you're risking about 35 cents. Obviously, that would be the ideal entry, but a clear lower high formed, and now we're pulling back, and the bulls must hold 660 on the Canadian side of things to keep this equilibrium and tightening range forming. If we cannot hold that level, there's a very clear lack of support under it, and I would still expect to hold 476 this time around on the pullback, but the bulls really want to hold 660. It's a potential bottom fishing play with that level, and we would then be looking for a bounce and a lower high compared to 840 and a continued tightening range. So a couple key support tests are coming up for some of these names in the sector. Interested in CRON now, and I started building a position in CRON looking for a daily higher low to form. There's no sign of that daily higher low at this point. I was looking for the 15-minute higher low, so I began scaling in here and going to use the low of the day as a stop, and looking like that will likely get stopped out. And it was, again, a smaller position because I'm going for a swing trade, but if I do get stopped out of this position, I'm going to be going for the same kind of trade again tomorrow, looking for the daily higher low to form. After very bullish news, 5 days of consolidation, the hourly RSI got down to oversold with extended hours on the US side of things. So if we do break that low, I will be back to all cash, but again, looking for a bullish entry for once the daily higher low is formed, and then we'll look for a solid bounce, perhaps a 5 to 10% bounce to look for a daily lower high once we do shift that momentum. But as of right now, again, very clear bearish correlation with SPY in the sector that has us looking down at the lows. And if we see a close near the low of the day in the sector, we'll be looking at the potential of a gap down, and that gap down will potentially be for buying on some of these names. TLRY is falling apart, finally, for a lot of people that have been waiting for this, as it was propped up for a long time, a lot longer than many of us expected. But we had a clear break of 84. Again, that's a very clear bear signal because there's little support below that. 72.50 is the next level. We're right on top of that right now. And after 72.50, we're looking down at 55.55 after that. So overall, bears are in full control here of TLRY. We're going to be looking for a daily oversold bounce here shortly, and then we'll just look for a bounce and a lower high to be set, but significant pullback on this name as it continues to fade back down from its crazy hype levels. NBEV has had a wonderful run for the bulls, another scenario where the gap up here was for selling. And we're going to look to pull back and form a daily higher low. Anything above 415 will be that higher low. So bulls have a lot of space to work with, significant increasing bull volume on the way up. So here's another one that you can be patiently waiting and scouting for an hourly trend change back to the bulls to indicate our daily higher low has formed. And that's something to be watching for on CRON as well. An hourly trend change will give us the indication that the daily higher low has been established. So right now, the only way the bulls can pull that off is holding 1107 and then breaking 1152. So watching the same thing on NBEV, hourly trend change needs to happen, but that might be after a couple more days of consolidation. C-Web pulling back again, not surprising. We saw a 50% move leading up into the Farm Bill. The Farm Bill is priced in. We got steps along the way. The market works in odds, the percentage odds something is going to happen. If something is a 90% chance to happen, the market prices it in 90% of the way. So when we get these steps, when we get the news that there's an agreement and we get news that so-and-so is signing it, and it's now past the Senate, and it's now past the House. The market's not going to wait to react to when the president signs it. The market is way too smart for that. It's going to react the entire way up, which is what we saw over the last week with this 50% move and some other names that saw 20, 30% move on the U.S. side of things. So now we're pulling back, and we need to form a higher low on the daily time frame. Again, no major red flags, no increasing bear volume. It'll be decent bear volume today, but it'll be in line with the bull volume from the previous days. And an hourly trend change will tell us that our daily higher low has been established, and we are looking for a daily higher low to form, certainly compared to 835 at this point. But again, there's no sign of it right now. We're looking for that higher low to form potentially tomorrow. Depends on how the next 2 hours go here into the end of the day, but the odds do favor that we could see some further downside first thing tomorrow morning in this sector. IIPR does stand out for the bulls. Very nice equilibrium here with our tightening ranges. And we just got a bull break today. Inside bar broke bullish at 51.27. Resistance now is 52.80, and then back up to the all-time high. So healthy consolidation overall on the weekly time frame. We can see we pulled back. Inside bar broke bullish, and we're still in a very nice uptrend on IIPR overall. The last clear daily higher low is 48.48 support, and we'll see if the bulls can make their way back towards that all-time high. Certainly a shining star amongst a lot of weakness in the MJ sector. And in my opinion, it's due to it being an REIT and issuing dividends in a fairly weak market. So overall, we are in consolidation mode, looking for some daily higher lows to form. We're watching hourly RSI levels. Hourly RSI on CGC is close to being oversold, another leg down. And perhaps if we get that gap down tomorrow, we'll be watching for that hourly RSI to be oversold. Again, if you are in shorter term positions, lock in that profit when you are bullish, or at least go break even stop losses, because the last thing you want to be doing is trying to, catch this shift in momentum and then just end up holding a bag when we know we're fighting the trends right now. So be quick to cut those losses or lock in those profits. And we'll be watching, again, my top focus into tomorrow and Monday is a CRON daily higher low, and also watching for some of these other names. You could be watching NBEV. Just set your targets. Say, write it down in front of you on your desk. Say, I'm going to be focusing on this name and this name. I'm looking for a higher low on the daily. I'm looking for an hourly trend change to indicate it. This is my potential target to be scaling in for an entry, and establish it and focus in, because there's a lot of tickers to be watching. But if you're focused in on a couple individual names, it's much easier to be keeping track of things. So KSHB, we'll go over that real quick because I did exit. And it's just a clear resistance level that we could not break. And yesterday was our last real attempt in the short term, where we hit 599, we hit 598, 599. Yesterday we topped out, couldn't break it, and as soon as we broke the low of consolidation, 570, bears picked up. Again, the volume's not there for the bears, so we are just looking for a daily higher low compared to 506, and the bulls will still give $6 a shot here again this month, or at least it's in sight for this month. But until we lose the daily uptrend, the bulls are still comfortable overall. It's just very clear that this resistance level is there, and if it breaks, we should get some solid follow-through. So that's what we're watching in the sector overall, mostly cash, and close to being stopped out on my initial CRON position. It's a bottom fishing play right now, double bottom at the low of the day, and I'm on the verge of getting stopped out. If I do get stopped out, I'll be back to all cash and patiently waiting for the trade setups to come to me. But again, not giving up on CRON. If I eat that small loss, then I will still be looking to make that loss back once that daily higher low forms, because we know that daily higher low will form. It's just a question of when. So I appreciate you watching. Stay protective out there, and we'll see. I'm curious to see how this PR story continues to play out for APHA. And we'll see if the bulls form a daily higher low as we anticipate they will. Again, another bottom fishing play here off of this support level of 660. We just dropped down to 688, and we need to see changes in trends on shorter term time frames. 15-minute is a clear downtrend. Change the trend on the 15-minute, and we'll have our 4-hour higher low just starting to form at that point. Appreciate you watching. Do good things, and I will see you at some point over the weekend. Again, video is going to be a bit dispersed over the coming days, but I will get it out probably Saturday at the latest.